Hey, welcome to Lisa's Family Table. We're glad to have you back in the backyard today. I've got my friend Rick Dalton here with me, who I've cooked with for over 20 years, and we got a real treat for you today. It's called chuck roast burnt ends. Now, burnt ends were really a part of the Kansas City barbecue, right?
It is, and it still is. You know, in their competitions, and teams turn them in with their brisket.
Absolutely, but they cook it out of the decal of the Packer brisket,
That's
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, now, you know, the thing about chuck roast and burnt ends, and I would say you probably can taste maybe just a wee bit of difference, but I promise most people couldn't taste any difference when we get through there. No. But here's the thing. I looked at Packer briskets yesterday in the grocery store. They were anywhere from like 15 to 20 pounds. And this was prime, but it was $4 a pound. Now I looked at just the flat itself where the decal was cut off.
A lot more money.
It was $7 a pound, you know, and that was even for choice. It wasn't prime. So,
exactly.
You know, the thing about this chuck roast is we buy it for $5 a pound. This is roughly a 3 1/3 pound chuck roast right here. And the thing about it is we paid $5 a pound. $15, $16 buys this piece of meat to make burnt ends out of. Quite a significant savings. Now, that's kind of earned the chuck roast burnt end the name
Poor man burnt ends.
Poor man's burnt ends, that's right. So we're going to show you how to do that today, and we're going to talk about it. I think it's a real treat. Now, the other side of the coin is today we're cooking these burnt ends for a purpose. We're going to cook once, and we're going to get one. It's kind of like, I always get confused when they say SCOTUS and POTUS and BOGO, you know. I finally got BOGO down. Buy one, get one, you know. This is cook one and get one.
COGO.
COGO, that's right.
Cook one,
you know, you can take this right here. What we're going to do today, we're going to make a brisket taco out of it, for one thing. And we also are going to show you how to make a loaded baked potato, barbecue baked potato with this brisket as well. You could make a beef brisket quesadilla, or you could make nachos with it, for that fact, however you want to serve it. But you can get more than one meal out of this, and that's the whole point. We're going to cook once, we're going to get one free, okay? We're going to start out here. You see the fat content in the brisket, in this chuck roast right here. I'm going to call it brisket because that's what I'm used to cooking more than anything else. And all we're going to do is we're going to liberally season this with Lisa's Family Table LSR, which is Lisa's Steak Rub. That's one of those other things. I learned that one pretty quick.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
But we're going to season this pretty liberally, and we're going to get both sides, and we're going to try to get the side a little bit same time.
You know, you cook this chuck roast just the same as you do a brisket.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not any difference in cooking it.
Now, what we're going to do, I've got the smoker set at 275 degrees. We're using hickory today, charcoal.
Yep.
And I've also got a Traeger set side by side, and I've got a smoke tube. I could put a smoke tube in there. And you know, if you got a Traeger, it's a simple thing. I'm gonna cook it on the backwoods though. I'm gonna cook it with charcoal and hickory. And it goes in, and we're not necessarily cooking to a time. We're cooking to a temperature. The first temperature that we want to cook to is 165 degrees. And at 165 degrees, you know, in between there, about every hour or hour and a half, we're going to spritz it a little bit, make sure we keep it moist. But once it gets to 165 degrees, we're going to pull it out of the cooker. We're going to wrap it in
in the butcher paper.
In the butcher paper, the pink butcher paper. You can wrap it in aluminum foil if you don't have butcher paper, either one. But you know, then we're going to put it back in the smoker, and we're going to once again cook to a temperature. We're cooking to 195 degrees. At 195 degrees, we're going to pull it out of the smoker. We're going to rest it. We're going to cut it into cubes, and then we're going to put it into a tin pan. We're going to put a sauce, a little bit of butter, and a little bit of brown sugar on it. And we're going to swather it around, and then we're going to put it back in the smoker for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and let all that juices and everything caramelize on the meat. And then when it comes out, we're gonna sauce it one more time. We're gonna put it back in there just for about 20 minutes. We're gonna pull it out, and it's ready to go.
It's ready to eat right then.
It's ready to eat.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Ready to eat.
So you got the process, so let's just get to cooking, okay? I have the pit running at 275 degrees. It's showing less than that just because we have the door open right now. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this chuck roast, we're gonna lay it right in the very center here. And we're gonna shut this up. And we're looking for 165 degrees of temperature, which is probably about 3 to 3.5 hours. So we'll see you in a few minutes. I think we're there, Rick.
I think we are too.
Yeah, we're a little bit over. We got busy, so
It's got a nice bark on it though.
we sure does. And we're about 173, something like that. We're a few degrees over, but it's got a nice bark. We're gonna wrap this, and then we're gonna run it up to 195.
195, yeah.
Yeah, let's see here. Open that deal up.
And it goes back in and got about 20 degrees more to get on it,
Yep.
give or take, and then we'll be ready to cut it up and make the little burn ends.
And we're going to go ahead and put a probe in here so we can watch it as it cooks. Now this is going to be in here for probably about 60 minutes to reach temperature that we want, 195. Then we're going to pull it out, and we're going to bring a cutting board out here. We're going to cut it into little cubes. And then we're going to put those cubes in a tin pan. We're going to put some brown sugar. We're going to put butter pats on it. And we're going to put some sauce. Yeah, barbecue sauce. And we're going to stir that all around. We're going to put it back in here for probably another hour and let it, it's going to caramelize, it's going to get brown, and it's going to really make a very good burn end, and then we'll pull it out. We'll do that one more time, but only then about 20 minutes at that time. It'll be ready to eat. Been a while, you know, we've probably, 5 hours into this, something like that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yep,
We got up to 165, we wrapped it. We're now at 199. It's time for it to come off. And
Time for it to come out.
Yep. We're gonna pull it out. And you're gonna watch that piece of metal because it's hot.
It is very
Not
hot.
to say that everything else ain't either, but yeah. And we need to rest this for just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
It won't take long, though,
No.
because it's got a good temperature to it.
Yeah, it's got a good temperature. We've let it rest a little bit.
Yes, we have.
Let's see what the results look like. I know it had a good bark when we wrapped it.
It sure did.
I am really looking forward to seeing this. Oh, wow. Look at that,
Look
Rick.
at that one.
Man, that's gorgeous. That's perfect. We're gonna cut these up into little chunks, just like we did earlier.
You know, in cutting them into bite size, you can use them like we've talked about before in so many different applications.
You know, you could just, if you wanted to, you could cut it almost like you would a brisket, but you know, we're trying to do something a little bit different here. Okay. Now we got all this in here, we got like bark there, so basically all we're gonna do is just
Put a little butter.
put a little butter here and there.
Then we'll go ahead and put the sauce on it good. And I think they're ready to go back in.
I think we are too. This has been in here for an hour and a half, and what we've been doing is we put a little bit of brown sugar on there. We put little pats of butter all the way across it. Then we put some sauce on there, and we kind of swirled it around so everything got good and wet. And then we put it back in here, and what we're doing is allowing all of that to caramelize and to crisp up these little cubes that we've made. And that's the burnt end. So just give you an idea, here's what it looks like, okay? You can see the caramelization on the bark and everything else there. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this out here. All I'm doing is putting I'm sprinkling, I got about 2 teaspoons of brown sugar here, and I'm sprinkling it over these burnt ends right now. We're gonna put a little more sauce on there. And this goes back in for 30 minutes. And next time it comes out, we're gonna be ready to go make some tacos, or if you're making nachos or quesadillas.
Loaded baked potato today.
Loaded baked potato today as well. So we're making tacos and baked potato to show you how you can use this today. But there's so many other applications you could use it for. So stay with us. We're gonna be right back. Well, it's been 30 minutes now, and we're ready to look at the finished product of these chuck roast burnt ends, or poor man's burnt ends, whatever you want to call them. And you can see right here, they're going to come out. You can see the caramelization in there. You can see how they've, the bark is kind of firmed up a little bit. Well, here we are, Rick, and you know, we did this chuck roast brisket. A lot of people call it our chuck roast burnt ends, and a lot of people call it a poor man's burnt end. And we ain't doing it any favors. We're just serving it with the plain old baked potato. But let me say this to you. There's everything about this potato, nothing that's plain. We actually cooked this inside the smoker at 275 degrees over hickory coals, and it's going to impart a little bit of flavor to it that you won't imagine. You know, you're cooking at a low temp. Basically, you just look for degree heating minutes. And so like we had like somewhere around 3.5 hours at 275 degrees. Just multiply that and you get how much, or we had 3 hours at 275 degrees. That's what we had, about 800 degree minutes. And it does a great job at that. So I'm gonna cut
smoky
these.
Baked potato with butter and salt on the outside even.
Yep.
You know, here we got these potatoes, we got scallions, cheese, fresh jalapenos, pickled jalapenos, sour cream, LSR, and rusty dust.
Been a relatively long morning, you know, but we're ready to eat now. And I'd say one thing, I cooked these baked potatoes on the smoker. You could easily do them at like 425 in an hour, hour and 15 minutes in your oven, and probably get very, very similar results. This is gonna be the first meal, but we're gonna have tacos with the remainder of our burnt ends a little bit later. And like we said, you could have maybe nachos or quesadillas.
With pizza.
You put it on pizza, that's a good point. You could do it different ways, but there's multiple ways to use this chuck roast burnt end to make a really tasty dish. And so I'm looking forward to this. I love barbecue baked potatoes in the first place, and I hadn't had one in a while, so
well, dig in.
I think this is going to be the deal right here.
I'm gonna let you have first dibs.
Well,
I'll be the cleanup hitter. I'll come in and finish it up.
You do that. I think, boy, look at that bite, man.
I believe my bite's better.
That's gonna bring a smile across your face, brother. Boy, that's good. That's better than good, isn't it?
I'm gonna take it and leave.
All right.
It is good.
From our table to yours, we're glad you joined us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And all we can say is just keep on cooking.
Keep cooking.
Cut. Great job, boys. You guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get notification of our upcoming videos. We post every Thursday and you won't want to miss a single video.